Easy vegan 3-bean soup. Welcome to Rain's Kitchen and Garden. My name is Rain. Today I'm sharing this easy, comforting soup recipe made with kidney beans, pinto beans, and white beans. This delicious soup is garnished with a garlicky, lemony gremolata. It's a perfect comfort food for cold autumn days. These are the ingredients that you'll need for the 3-bean soup. You're going to need a cup each, or 220 grams of dried pinto beans, kidney beans, and white beans. Now I'm going to soak these overnight, but if you soak them for at least 4 hours, that would be fine. You're also going to need 2 tablespoons or 15 milliliters of olive oil, 2 onions, 2 celery stalks, 2 carrots, 1 can or about 455 milliliters of diced tomatoes with their juice, 8 cups or 2 liters of vegetable broth, 2 cups or 500 milliliters of water, a 1/4 cup or about 10 grams of finely chopped parsley, 3 cloves of garlic, 1 bay leaf, salt and pepper to taste. And for the gremolata garnish, you're going to need 2 cloves of garlic, more chopped parsley, and a zest of 1 lemon. The first thing I'm going to do is make my gremolata. So what I want to do is I want to take my 2 cloves of garlic and I want to finely chop them. And I'm just squishing them down. Actually, it's much easier if I bang the knife, so watch your ears. There we go. The garlic skins come off so much easier when you bang them down. So let's take those skins off. And I'm going to put those into my compost pile. I always have a bowl ready for the compost. And we fill it up quite a bit. I'm just going to cut the ends off because this garlic is a little old, so it's actually starting to sprout. So let me get rid of this. And I'm going to chop up my garlic into a very fine chop. So then I slice it first, and then I hold down the top of the knife, and then I just go like this. It's important to have a nice sharp blade. My blade is not very sharp, but it does the job. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all of my gremolata ingredients into a little bowl. I've got the garlic, and it smells really, really good. There's a few pieces left here. Just want to make sure I get everything into the bowl. Okay, next up, I'm going to measure out a 1/4 cup. I have my 1/4 cup here of parsley. And I'm going to chop that up too. I'm just pulling the ends off the parsley. And we'll chop up a 1/4 cup for the gremolata. I usually use scissors to chop up or cut up, slice up herbs. But since I have my cutting board dirty, I figured, what the heck, I'll use my knife. And I'm doing the same thing. I'm just chopping with this part of my knife. When you start to chop fresh herbs, oh my goodness, does it smell good? You're really releasing the aromas of the herb when you do this. So into my bowl, I'm going to put my chopped parsley. Well, maybe I should measure it first, right, my friends? Because we want about 1/4 cup. And I actually think I nailed it. I actually got 1/4 cup of parsley, and I wasn't even trying. All right, I'm going to put this aside. And I'm going to grab my lemon. And I have this nice little zester here. And I want the zest of 1 full lemon. Zest is the skin or the peel. And I found, I know this sounds a little obsessive compulsive, but when I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I get just enough off of the peel so as not to get to the white rind, because the rind is very bitter. So that's what I do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I go around the whole lemon. It's a bit hypnotic, isn't it? It smells really good. The lemon and the garlic, the parsley together. Very fragrant. And it's going to make a great garnish to our soup. So I've pretty much gotten, well, there's a little bit left here. There we go. I've gotten pretty much all of the zest off the lemon peel or the lemon skin. And I'm going to mix all of that up. There's a little bit of parsley here that didn't get, see, it didn't get chopped very well. So I'm actually going to grab my scissors and I'm going to chop that up with my scissors, because I find that it's a lot easier when you use scissors for the big pieces. But it depends how sharp your knife is, you know. You kind of don't want to have huge pieces of parsley. Well, they're okay. I probably should have started with my scissors, but that's okay. Whoops, I've got them handy now. All right, look at that. Gremolata. So I'm just going to cover this with some cling film. And I'm going to set this aside in the fridge until I'm ready to use it. The next thing I'm going to do is prepare my vegetables, and I want to finely chop my onions, my carrots, and my celery. So I'm going to use, I've got my chopping board here, but I'm not going to bother cleaning it because, you know, everything's going into the soup. I also have my garlic and my parsley. And since I've got everything dirty here, I'm going to be preparing all of the vegetables at the same time. So I have a little piece of paper towel on top of my chopping board because I'm going to be just peeling my carrots. And I want to catch the peels here. It just makes life easier. That's the first one. And the second carrot. Okay. So all of this is going to go into the compost, but I'm going to just stick it up there for now. So I just gave my carrots a little bit of a rinse, and I'm going to chop them up very finely. Just going to move my parsley and garlic out of the way and chop up my carrots. Now I want a fine, fine chop. So I cut them into sticks first, and depending how thin they are, I might cut them in half. Or in the case of this size, probably in 4. And I'm just going to basically dice them or finely chop them. Okay, you see they're nice and finely chopped. And I'm going to put these into a little dish here. There we go, finely chopped carrots. So I'm going to take care of the next 2. Now I'm going to chop my celery. Now the celery and the carrots are going into the pot at the same time. So I'm just going to add the celery to my bowl here. And I want these finely chopped as well. So I'm going to do the same thing. I'm cutting them up and I'm going to slice them into pieces, into thin slices. All right, and then just dice them. I love making soups in the fall. It's such great comfort food. And it's also good for the digestion once in a while to take a break from the heavy stuff. October is a big month here in Canada. We have our Thanksgiving at the beginning, or I guess mid-October. And then there's Halloween with all the candy and the fun food. And then I usually am ready for a month of soups after that, until Christmas. And these soups are great, you know, they're filled with vegetables, and there's protein in the beans. Lots of nutrients. And they're filling, and they're comforting, and they're warming. I mention at the end of these soup videos usually that I have a playlist called Delicious Soups. I don't want you guys to miss out on that because I'm piling up on the soup recipes. Okay, so my carrots and my celery are beautifully finely chopped or diced, so I will put those aside, and now I'm going to do the onions. Let me just take the skins off. I'm going to put these in my little bowl here for now because the onions are going in first. So I'm going to separate them from the carrots and the celery like I mentioned before. Oh, they are strong. My eyes are already starting to water. All right. Oh my goodness. If I start to sound like I have the sniffles, you guys know why. Wow, these are strong. All right. The show must go on. Holy guacamole. Whew. All right. Let's get this done, Rain. There we go. Get these onions into the bowl. Wow. I have a few little small pieces here. I'll just chop them up. I'm seriously weeping right now. It's hard to see. I've tried every trick in the book to try not to get myself bawling my eyes out when I'm chopping onions. I think one thing that really worked for me was when I used to wear contact lenses. That really helped me, but I don't like wearing them. I have this crazy fear that they're going to get lodged at the top of my eyeball. I won't be able to get them out. So I stopped wearing contact lenses. Another trick that I tried was I used to wear, you know, those goggles that you wear when you're swimming. I used to have a set, and I used to bring out the diving goggles or the swimming goggles when I was chopping onions. And it helped a little bit, not a lot, because it was hard to see. But yeah, I guess we just have to deal with it, right? All right. I am going to go compose myself, and I will be back to chop up my parsley and my garlic. All right, I've composed myself. The onions are chopped. So now I'm going to work on the garlic and the parsley. I have 3 cloves of garlic here, and I've got a little bowl that I'm going to put them in because they're going to go separate again from the onions and separate from the carrots and celery. So I'm just squishing down to try to get that garlic skin off. That one already came off. That one comes off easily. And there we go. Just cut the ends off. Like I said, this is old garlic. So it's starting to sprout. I don't want sprouted ends. So I'm going to chop that up. And just like I did with the gremolata, holding this down and just going across to finely chop it all. Sorry about the noise there. A small counter space in my tiny little cottage. All right, so that's going to go into my little bowl here. And I think instead of fighting with the knife, I'm just going to use my scissors. I think I have them still here from before. I'm going to cut up the parsley that way. And again, I want another 1/4 of a cup. So as I cut it up, I'm going to try to fill my 1/4 cup here. So why don't I go ahead and do that? It always amazes me when I'm doing cooking videos that my dogs are so quiet. I have 5 dogs here in the kitchen with me. Oh, and of course, did I just jinx myself? My puppy's rolling around, moving around. They just love being in the same room with me. All right, let's see if I've got a 1/4 of a cup here. And I think I do. Yes, I do. So I'm going to add that to the garlic. And I'm going to set that aside for now. Just let me get all the little pieces here, if I can, so that we don't waste. And then we'll start making our soup. I have a large pot here, and I've put it over medium heat. I'm going to add the olive oil. And I'm going to let the olive oil warm up. I've warmed up my olive oil. I'm just going to check to make sure it's not too hot. I've got a little piece of onion here. I'm going to drop it in. Okay, that looks fine. It's not sizzling and burning, so it's not too hot. So I'm going to add all of my onions. Let's give that a stir. And I'm going to saute these over a medium heat for about 3 minutes until the onions are nice and soft. My onions have been sauteing for about 3 minutes, so I'm going to add the carrots and the celery. I'm going to mix that up, and I'm going to saute this for 4 minutes, 4 or 5 minutes, because I just want the carrots and the celery to start sweating a little bit. Everything is smelling so good. Oh my gosh. Now I'm going to add the beans, which I have drained. Look at all those beautiful colors. I love that. Let me give that a little bit of a stir. I'm going to add that can of tomatoes. These are diced tomatoes. Give that a little bit of a stir. Now you need a really big pot for this soup, and I'm hoping I chose the right pot. Because next up is the 8 cups of vegetable broth. So let's see, my friends, if we can fit that 8 cups in here. Let me pour this in. Ooh, it's heavy. All right, here we go. Wonderful. And I'm going to add the 2 cups of water. It's going to just fit. Look at that. It just fits in my pot. And remember that parsley and garlic that we chopped up? In that goes. And of course, my bay leaf. Plop. Now I'm going to turn that up to maximum and bring that to a boil, because what I want to do is when it gets to a boil, I'm going to reduce it to a simmer for about an hour until the beans are tender. My soup has been simmering for an hour and I believe it's done. I finally found the bay leaf. It took me about, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes to find it, but please don't forget to discard the bay leaf. And I'm going to check my beans, and if they squish real well, then I know the soup is ready. And they're very soft, so I'm happy with the consistency of the beans. So I'm going to continue with the recipe. I'm going to transfer some of my soup into my blender. It's still pretty hot, but I think that's okay. My blender is used to hot liquids. I want to blend some of the soup, not the whole soup, because the idea is that I want a little bit of texture in the soup, but I want some of it blended at the same time. But if you like your soup blended, by all means, blend the entire thing. It's going to taste amazing. Now I'm going to stop at the next ladle full because I know my blender. And I really don't want it to overflow and explode with hot liquid. All right, I'm going to blend this until it's nice and smooth. I'm going to pour the blended soup back into my pot. It smells so good. I'll give that a little bit of a stir. When you blend part of the soup, it makes it a little bit thicker. But we still have some texture, you know, we still have some beans and tomatoes and carrots. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I've tasted it, and I know how much pepper and salt I want to put in, but why don't you taste it at this point and season it the way you like it. You may not want to add any salt or pepper to it. You might like it just the way it is. And there we go. Our soup is ready to serve and to garnish with that delicious gremolata. Soup's on, everyone. This recipe has a lot of ingredients, but the results are so delicious. Heat up some bread rolls and enjoy a delicious, comforting lunch. I hope you enjoyed this video today, and if you did, please give it a like and please do subscribe. I have a playlist on my channel called Delicious Soups that you might enjoy. I'll add the link at the end of the video if you'd like to check that out. If you don't want to miss out on future videos, don't forget to hit the notification bell for more home cooking. And don't forget to leave me a comment. I love your comments and I reply to all of them. And please share this video with anyone you might think will enjoy it. Thanks again for watching, my friends, and I'll see you next time on Rain's Kitchen and Garden. Bye!